Well, I'm going to do another video. Good morning. This is the video for the 24th of July, and I feel like I'm on a roll. I could probably do several if, there seems to be a lot of ideas flowing right now. Anyway, the title of this video is going to be Collapsing the Petroleum Power Grid. It's not in the mainstream Western media controlled by the cabal of capitalist oligarchs that have tried to impose a slavery system of dominance over the planet. They will not tell the truth until they are forced to do so. That force is the unstoppable awakening of people to the real situation behind the news. There are grassroots movements all over the planet to bring long-suppressed technologies for free energy, energy healing, and more. People are finally realizing that we now have the ability, if properly financed and implemented, to end the need for petroleum products to power our world. How many wars have been fought over oil? It's a component in most global clashes over the past century, and especially in the past few decades. It continues at this time, but the handwriting is on the wall. Rockefeller Cabal, your time is up. Your game is ending. You are being asked to surrender peacefully. Now. Oh, yes, and I do see the handwriting on the wall. Not only in the financial area with an alternative financial system being created by the BRICS nations to, right now, to sit side by side and give an alternative to the central bankers controlled by the Federal Reserve and the IMF and the World Bank and things that have been going on and controlling our world and controlling all the wars and everything for a long time. Not only is the monetary system being challenged, but if we're going to end the tyranny, we have to end the tyranny of the oil industry. Oil was not necessary at all in the 20th century because Tesla gave us technologies that could power automobiles, our homes, our factories, and everything that with free energy over 100 years ago. And J.C. Morgan, or J.P. Morgan, I mean, and Rockefeller, and that whole oligarch that created the Federal Reserve and was so instrumental in the early time of the 20th century, creating all the stuff that was going on in the world based on oil, oil, oil. It was the quest for oil, the quest for natural gas. I'm sorry, those industries are not going to be needed in the relatively near future. They're going to be needed for a little while yet, but they're waning and not waxing. They're going downhill. They're on the decline. There is no end of oil. There's lots of oil on the earth. That's not the question. Oil is probably a self-regenerating resource of the earth itself. It's the planetary's blood. And they've been fighting wars over it all this time. And as I said, that didn't have to happen. World War I, World War II, and the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, and all the little wars and skirmishes in various places around the world over the past century, almost none of that, no, not almost, none of that needed to happen. Unless you want to look at it from the awakening point of view, that we needed it to get really bad before we'd finally wake up, before we'd finally get the message, the people getting the message of the criminal conspiracy going on behind the scenes. Now the conspirators, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the central bankers, the CEOs of the multinational corporations, the CEOs of the government corporations, the CEOs of all of the military industrial complex, the message is out. Your services are no longer needed. We're not just going to collapse the petroleum power grid. We're going to collapse the economic power grid of the slavery system itself. Because debt, as I said in the video that I just recorded a short time ago, debt is fiction. And we're ending this whole idea that we need oil to lubricate the gears of the economic structure. We don't need oil. We can create another economic structure that's not based on petroleum. It's not even based on resources of any kind to power anything, because the resources that we need to power everything are available in wind, water, and out of the very atmosphere itself. Free energy. We have the technologies to totally transform the world. We have the technologies to totally go off the grid and leave all the power companies with their smart meters and all of their attempts to control and to spy on people and to create fires like they're doing with these so-called smart meters, which are not smart meters. They're control meters. Anybody that has one needs to get it taken out. And I'm still standing up to the Florida Power and Light for their attempted extortion. But we need to end this. We don't need the system that we've had before. The system that we've had is no longer sustainable. It's already on the road to becoming totally obsolete. It's only just a transitional period that it needs to be maintained, but as I said, it needs to be waning. It needs to be on the decrease, not the increase. And I want you to be aware of what's going on. If you're not already aware, if you're not sharing with your friends that the Tesla technologies are being released to power our automobiles, to power our homes, to power everything, people need to be awakened to this. Hope Girl and a whole bunch of projects, as I said, grassroots movements are spreading all over the world. It's going on in China and Japan and all over Europe and the United States and Australia, and I'm sure Latin America, of course. They're doing a big community in Peru where they're going to be powering it with off the grid power generators. Yes. We only need the power generators enough to get things started, but once they get started, they are self-sustaining. Can you imagine a generator that continues to put out over unity way, way, way more energy than it needs to operate it? It's giving a surplus of energy. We have the technology now. And the people that are in the power industries, you're going to find other jobs for you. There's going to be other things for you to do, maybe painting, maybe creating music instead, maybe some other art of speaking and of storytelling, things that can enrich the human soul and the human spirit. We're going to find jobs for all these people that are involved in this industry. We're going to find jobs for all of the industries that are going to be replaced. The attorneys are ultimately going to be out of business because the system of law is going to be a lot simpler. It's just going to be people. And judges aren't going to be glorified attorneys. They're going to be just people with common sense that are willing to look at the facts and be unbiased, not biased toward banks and toward the corporations, but unbiased, looking for only the truth. This is the kind of world that I see coming. It's the kind of world that the grassroots movement are creating. We're creating the alternative to the domination structure based on oil and based on fraud and based on a monetary system that enslaves rather than liberates people. Yes, money can actually liberate us, and oil can actually lubricate the earth itself. And it doesn't need to be extracted, and there doesn't need to be fracking, and there doesn't need to be a search for natural gas. We have natural gas inside of our own bodies, for God's sake. Every time we fart, we are putting out natural gas, methane. And, we can actually laugh because we've been so ignorant. We've been so easily manipulated. We've played the game so well. But the game is over, Mr. Rockefeller. The game is over, Mr. Rothschild. The game is over, Cabal. The game is over, military-industrial complex. The game is over. When are you going to send up the white flag? We've got your number. We've got your number. We see how you've been playing. We see how you've wanted to manipulate and control everything. Well, the days of manipulation, the days of control are coming to an end. Can't you see the writing on the wall? Are you not shaking in your boots? You said you were going to plant a boot on every human face. That was the 1984 prophecy. Okay? It didn't happen in 1984, and it's not going to happen in 2014, and it's not going to happen in the years ahead. We're putting an end to it. We're putting you on notice. Your time is up. The Dragon family has put you on notice. Your time is up. It's time to remit and surrender and stop playing the game of fraud that you've been playing for so long. To stop making the world believe that we need oil. Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, and all you Middle East countries that are rich in petroleum, we're not going to need it anymore. So you're going to have to give freedom to your people. You're going to have to allow a new renaissance in Islam. You're going to have to allow the awakening, again, the new awakening, the new renaissance in the Islamic faith. And you're going to have that Christians that are supporting Israel. You're going to have an awakening of your Christianity. You're going to have an awakening Jewish people of your Judaism. You're going to have an awakening Hindus of your Hindu religion, and your Buddhist religions, and your Zoroastrianism, and all of the other religions of the world are going to have a spiritual awakening and recognize that we're all one. And the energy is inside of each of us. Each cell of our body contains enough energy to light an entire city if it's properly harnessed. And we're now unleashing the suppressed technologies to be able to do that very thing. This is the new world that we're creating. This is the real new world order. And it's a new world order of peace. It's a new world order of prosperity for everybody. It's a new world order of truth. It's a new world order of, as I said in the previous video, of debt forgiveness, of jubilee, of celebration, of creation, of creating beauty and creating art and creating music and creating dance and creating expressions of life that sustain life and glorify the life that we've been given, so that we can live in joy, that we can live in harmony with ourselves and with each other. We no longer have to have the artificial stresses placed on us by this false paradigm of petroleum power and of the power grid of dominance, the power grid of financial tyranny, the power grid of owning resources. The resources belong to all of us, not to a few people that want to sit at the top of the pyramid and control everybody else. That game, we're no longer going to buy into that game. We're telling you enough. We're telling you to stop it. We're telling you to give up, to send up the white flag and surrender to the will of the people, to the will of God, to the truth. You've brought us this far. You've shown us what we don't want, and you've done a very good job of that. And for that, we commend you. But you will be held accountable if you continue to play this game of fraud and extortion and slavery. If you continue to play this game, we have your number. We know what you're doing. We know what's up with you. We know you want to hang on. And we know you don't want to surrender. How much pain has to be inflicted before you finally get it, before you finally see the handwriting on the wall. You are weighed in the balances and found wanting. Surrender. The cabal needs to surrender. The Dragon family is calling for that. People of heart and sound mind are calling for that. No more insanity, no more psychopathy, no more sociopathy. It's time. It's time to end the craziness. Please surrender, because we are collapsing your petroleum power grid and all of the other grids that you've used to enslave humanity. That's my message for the 24th of July. Namaste.